This is Eagle Owl, and today I will be talking about training camp day one. Eli Rich seemed like he's moving up in that depth chart. Also, we got to talk about Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts shutting down rumors, and we just going to talk about training camp. But let's get straight into it.
Effort, everybody's flying around. Hey, making plays, bro. Let's do it. Both sides. Challenge each other, push each other. Hey, let's get it, man. Hey, work on things. 1, 2, 3.
Like we talked about yesterday, man, talent will only take you so far. It's about developing that talent. Teams win championships, and how we practice today, that's how we're going to continue to push each other day by day to get to where we're trying to be. But great first day. Continue to work on your list, watch the film, and come back better tomorrow.
Take care of your bodies.
Eagles on 3, 1, 2, 3.
All right, so let's get straight into it, man. Training camp. And before training camp even started, there was some press conference. The first press conference was with Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni. Everybody want to know. All right, we heard this for like a month, 2 months plus. This Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni relationship, is it good? Is it tense? What is it? And the reporter asked him, like, what's going on with you and Jalen Hurts? And this is what Nick Sirianni had to say.
Relationships on is your personal interactions with people, not any report that comes out. And, you know, Jalen and I's relationship is good. It's, again, you just can judge it based off of what your personal interactions are. And so when you hear a report like that, you don't put much stock into it because, quite frankly, not everybody sees that. So I'm so excited for him and I to get into our 4th year together. We've done some pretty special things, and I'm really excited for him. He's worked so hard at his game. I'm excited for him to be able to get back out here today and have a good practice today. And yeah, just looking forward to continuing to work with him and continue to build on this special.
I respect it. He said we good. You know, things happened last year, of course, but overall they are good. They are in a good space. So that's really good to hear from the head coach. But Jalen Hurts also spoke after practice, and this is what he had to say about Nick Sirianni and his relationship.
Yeah, let me say this first. You know, you go through an off season. You put a lot of work in. I think all the things that we've been through last year, all the opportunity we had last year, I know everybody's hungry. You know, everybody's hungry. You know, there's a ton of opportunity in front of us this year. And I'm excited to be back. Excited to go through this journey and go through this season with everyone here. You know, from everyone. You know, and I truly trust Mr. Leary. I trust Howie. I trust Coach Sirianni to lead us in that right direction. And I know there are different roles in place. Everybody has different responsibilities. There may be more demands from some than others, but I think to win championships, to be the team we want to be, everyone has to buy into that role, and everyone has to, you know, be fully committed to doing their part and helping the team. And so, I'm excited to go on that journey. You know, I feel like for me as a player, as a leader, everything that we went through last year, I just feel like I'm equipped to handle whatever's to come. And so I'm excited to, you know, forge whatever this year's supposed to be.
I respect Jalen Hurts. I respect Jalen Hurts after what he said. First of all, he just completely cut off the reporter. Like, let me get this out, big homie. No. Don't ask me no questions. Let me get this out, big homie. He ain't say that, but I'm over-exaggerating it a little bit. But he like, yo, like, we good. Like, I'm good with Lori. I'm good with Howie. I'm good with Sirianni. We are good. And it's good to hear that from Jalen Hurts. And speaking of Jalen Hurts, magnificent day, which I will go over the camp notes, but he had one hell of a day. Day one of training camp. Even the reporters put out there like, yo, OTAs, you know, the offense was a little bit sloppy, but this time it looked good. The motion, it seemed like they get everything down pat. All right, so before we get started with the camp notes, let's talk about Nakobe Dean. So Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman spoke about Nakobe Dean and how they are excited to see him. And not just that, just the linebacker matchup in general. And this is what Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman had to say about that.
Last year, and like just so excited to see how that goes. Now, Nakobe came back in great shape, worked his butt off. He said to me yesterday, "Man, are we putting the pads on tomorrow?" When I walk past him, you know, I know he's ready. I know he's ready mentally. I know he's ready physically. I'm excited to see him, and I'm excited to see that position.
I think I broke that rule talking about a couple positions I'm excited about, right? You know, I think for us, we have tremendous confidence in Nakobe. You know, that's why we drafted him. That doesn't change. And sometimes it's because of how much you liked him throughout the process and bringing him here. So we're really excited about him. He's got the right mentality. There's no question in my mind what his contributions were to one of the best defenses in the history of college football. I know that just from watching the tape. I know that from talking to the coaches. And then the opportunity is there. You know, the opportunities at that position, I think.
Pretty dope, man. Y'all know me. I've been on the Nakobe Dean head all offseason. Like, yo, you're the second best linebacker on this team. Prove it. And he did get some first team reps, but let's go over the camp notes. All right. So what everybody want to know first, you have Zach Bond and Devin White with the first team with the linebackers. No Nakobe Dean yet. He was with the second team. And outside cornerbacks were Darius Slay and Isaiah Rogers. You also had Avonte Madison and nickel, because we all know what's going on with Cooper DeJean. He won't be in probably for 3 weeks. He could come back earlier than that, but more than likely they probably gonna let him sit the 3 weeks. And speaking of injuries, I forgot to bring up Landon Dickerson. So Landon Dickerson has some toe laceration thing, so he couldn't practice as well. So there was no Landon Dickerson, no Cooper DeJean, and there was other guys too, but the notable names were Landon Dickerson and Cooper DeJean. The first play of the day, Jalen Hurts handoff to Saquon Barkley. Love to see it. Definitely that being the first play of the day. Hopefully, you know, we start some drives like that. Just a simple handoff, get Saquon going. But that was the first play we decided to do. Also, with Landon Dickerson being out, the Eagles started Mekhi Becton at that left guard position. So that lets you know if any of the linemen are out, Mekhi Becton, if he's the backup at right guard, he will probably be the first guy to get called up, because Tyler Steen today had the first crack at being the starting right guard. So we're going to watch that battle closely. And we got some interesting things that happened with Mekhi Becton. He threw up 10 times and went back and practiced. So Mekhi Becton got work today. It was a lot of working. I love to hear guys are throwing up and guys are working hard. That lets you know these ain't that soft training camps in those practice anymore. Yeah, we get into it. So wide receiver 3 is another interesting battle, and Paris Campbell gets to start at wide receiver 3 to start training camp. Look, Paris Campbell is the best wide receiver 3 at this moment. He's probably better than Anaya Smith at this moment. I think he's better than John Ross. And Paris Campbell, speaking of him, I heard he had a good day as well. Jalen Hurts had a lot of completions to Paris Campbell. So it's good that the offense is starting to get that wide receiver 3 involved, right? So the second team linebackers were Nakobe Dean and Ben Van Sumeren. So that's interesting. Ben Van Sumeren going to that second team. I know he was rotating with the second and third team during OTAs, but Ben Van Sumeren got the nod at the second team, and Nakobe Dean, you know, been rotating with the first team and the second team. So Nakobe Dean is still in his spot, trying to move up. And eventually he did play some first team reps, Nakobe Dean. So shout out to Ben Van Sumeren and Nakobe Dean, you know, working their way up. Second team cornerbacks were Keely Ringo and Quinyon Mitchell. Those were the two outside starting or second team cornerbacks, which, you know, is pretty obvious. You're going to have your first round pick, at least get some second team reps. And then Keely Ringo, who has a lot of potential of possibly even being on the first team. So that battle between Keely and Isaiah Rogers is going to be interesting, and who Vic Fangio decide to pick. But Quinyon is getting those, you know, those snaps. And I believe eventually he's going to get those first team snaps. So the defensive line rotation, quote unquote, and linebackers were interesting. So you had Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter that lined up with Milton Williams. Then you had Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff on the outside. and then you had Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham rotating on the outside. So that's how the rotation is so far. And that's the pretty obvious. Like, Bryce Huff is your high paid guy. Of course, he's going to get those reps. And Josh Sweat played at a high level. The collapse is the collapse, but Josh Sweat is still a really good player. That's expected. Nolan Smith, let's see if he can work his way up. And then Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, we already knew that. But Milton Williams, make a name, man. I know you got this in you. You got this, man. I believe you can, be that starter. James Bradberry. Yes, James Bradberry was with the second team safeties. So James Bradberry is trying to make his mark at safety, at least make this team. But hey, he signed a 3-year deal for what, $38 million to be a second team safety. I mean, Eagles, we got to do something about this. And he played beside Tristan McCullum. So he will be the next safety up if, somebody goes down. But I say this about James Bradberry. To me, in my opinion, I don't think he's physical enough to play safety. That's just my opinion. Or maybe that thing what happened in Tampa Bay just stuck in my head, how he just let the dude just run right past him. But maybe he could scan the field, be a ball hawk or whatever. But I don't see him as like an Eagle safety. So let's see what James Bradberry do. We are thin at safety. We ain't signed anybody, but we know how he rolls, man. If he don't like how something look, he will go and sign somebody. So let's see what James Bradberry do. And speaking of safeties, we had one of our former safeties back in Philadelphia working with the coaching staff. Remember Anthony Harris? At one point, he was that guy, especially in Minnesota, once led the league in interceptions. But now it looked like he's been working with the coaches over the summer, trying to be a part of the coaching staff, and he's a well-respected player. I like Anthony Harris. By the time he got to us, he was slipping out of his prime. But Anthony Harris, he did some good things in Philadelphia as far as his play, and we know what he was in Minnesota. So him being a coach and working with the players, I think that's pretty dope. I like when the players come back and work with the current players, or ex-players work with the current players. And the Eagles seem like a team that usually give ex-players a shot. You think of Connor Baldwin, think of Darren Sproles. Now you got like the Anthony Harris. So, guys are constantly in the building. Like now you got Jason Kelsey who will be in the building. So Anthony Harris, a well-respected guy, working with the safeties, that's pretty dope. And we, getting deeper into the notes. So there's some magic, some Kellen Moore magic is coming into the offense. So Kellen Moore had Devontae Smith, motioning, which freed up Dallas Goedert, and Jalen Hurts threw a beautiful bomb to Dallas Goedert for a 35-yard touchdown because of the motion and the pre-snap motion and things like that. Just free up the field, and Dallas Goedert, got his touchdown. So I think we're going to see a lot of that during the season, because with Smitty moving around and probably AJ moving around, it's going to free up Dallas Goedert a lot. And Jalen Hurts just got to be ready. He got to be ready for Dallas Goedert, and it seemed like them two are on the same page. All right, so the starter on the 7-on-7s, the defense starting linebackers were Devin White and Nakobe Dean. So Nakobe Dean getting those first team reps, and Keely Ringo and Darius Slay were the starting outside cornerbacks. So now Keely Ringo is starting to get those first team reps. So again, the battle between Isaiah Rodgers and Keely Ringo is going to be interesting. So the 11-on-11s, it was Isaiah Rodgers. 7-on-7s, they chose Keely Ringo. So it looked like, again, Vic Fangio just trying to see what he got. And Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond will be battling. And Isaiah Rodgers and Keely Ringo will be battling. And now the team go back into 11-on-11s. And the linebacker room got interesting because they started Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond with the first team. And Devin White was on the second team. So they put Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond to see how they work. But that's an interesting thing. Again, Vic Fangio just trying to see what he got. And more Kellen Moore magic happens again. So Eagle just ran the play, did a fake pitch to Saquon. It shifted the whole defense towards Saquon because Saquon is Saquon. Jalen Hurts held the ball, it was a big play, A lot of yards that Jalen Hurts got, and just the motion. So it's the motion, the fake pitch, got the defense moving. A lot of people thinking it's going to Saquon, but Jalen Hurts kept it. See, man, the motion, I'm telling you, it keep the defense honest because they don't know what is going on or what's going to happen. So shout out to Kellen Moore, man, bringing that magic, baby. Yeah, my boy Eli Ricks. Eli Ricks, who was just on the third team with the cornerbacks. He was across from Josh Jobe. He moved up to the second team and played beside Keely Ringo. And they had Quinyon Mitchell move to the slot. That's a big lineup if you think about it. Eli Ricks, tall, big, really good in zone. Vic Fangio and Eli Ricks, like the way Vic Fangio coach and the way Eli Ricks play, I think it's a really good mesh. And he probably sees something in Eli Ricks, but moving him up to the second team is big because during OTAs, it sounds like, man, I don't know if Eli Ricks going to make this team, but Eli Ricks getting some second team, that's really good. That is really good. And then again, Quinyon Mitchell moved to the slot and Keely Ringo stayed on the outside. That's a big lineup, man. We're talking about all guys over 6 feet. All guys over 6 feet. And Quinyon Mitchell is not no slow 6-footer. Like, he can keep up with your favorite slot receiver. Then Keely Ringo, his speed. He's as big as Slay, but I believe he's, a tad bit slower or up there with Slay. And Eli Ricks is not the fastest, but he is physical. And if you put him in zone positions, he can ball. So Eli Ricks, man, keep moving up, man. So Nakobe Dean making plays. So he got a tackle for a loss. And even on passing plays, he got into the backfield. So he almost got to Jalen Hurts. So Nakobe Dean is making the mark. So when he got that first team reps, he just kept going and going and going. And as I played the clip earlier, Nakobe Dean, like he said, he is ready. He is ready to show what he got. So keep making plays, Nakobe. One of the underrated things that is going on in the Eagles camp as well. A lot of us not talking about the special teams, and we got a lot of returners. So the Eagles are trying out John Ross, Anaya Smith, Isaiah Rodgers to all do kick returns, and Brenton Covey, of course. So this is going to be interesting who we choose to be that punt returner, because if Isaiah Rodgers is the starting cornerback, I don't want him doing punt returns. But John Ross is really fast. We know that, probably the fastest on the team. Brenton Covey, I believe, was a Pro Bowler, so he is really good. Anaya Smith, we know what he did in college, so you got a lot of choices, a lot. And it'll be interesting who we go with. So that's all I got for you guys today, far as with camp notes. It went on for about an hour and 10 minutes, so about 70-minute practice. Spoke to the players afterwards. Slay spoke. Brandon Graham dropped some news that he's retiring. AJ Brown spoke about the offense. Didn't really give too much, to be honest. He's just like, I really don't know, but it's similar stuff I did, so it's just more terminology. Of course, Jalen Hurts, the big thing was with him was with Nick Sirianni and his relationship, but something about Jalen Hurts' demeanor is totally different, but in a good way. Like the way he's speaking, he seemed more free. Like he's gonna be a lot more vocal. You know how the big thing with the media is he's gonna be more vocal. He's gonna be more vocal, and when I hear him speak, he sound more like vocal, like. So we'll see, man, about Jalen Hurts and this Nick Sirianni thing, because if we don't start off like how we want to, a lot of people is going to bring that up, but in my honest opinion, I think they are fine. So overall, man, it seemed like it was an even battle, but if I had to match it, the offense might have won the first day. The Dallas Goedert balling out, the motion confused the defense. Jalen Hurts was 16 of 17. 16 to 17, only one incompletion. One. But let's not put too much stock into camp notes. It was day one. Day two can be something totally different. The defense can go lights out, because if the offense keep dominating, now we have questions about the defense. So hopefully, the defense can get a day. But it's good to see Jalen Hurts. He ain't throw no picks. He looked very comfortable, looked more crisp. And You know, we get ready for day 2, man. Day 2 of camp. It was fun. It was exciting today to watch the tweets. I wish we was more like the Chiefs. You know, the Chiefs just record their whole practice and give it out to the public. But you know, the Eagles, we got to be secretive. They had this huge day, August 1st, and then that's public. But that's the Eagles being the Eagles, man. And it was just exciting, you know, seeing the clips, seeing them interact with the fans, especially Jalen Hurts. And I can't wait to some real football, like, you know, when we play the Packers. But camp, again, is just the first step. It's the first step, man. But hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel about the news today? A lot of camp notes, a lot of clips, but you know, Eagle Owl got to give you as much information as possible. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. But this is Eagle Owl, man. I'm up.